You weren't feeling great, were you? So
No.
I think my auntie said, why don't we just take a walk to Aldi at the end of my mum's road, wasn't it? With
Yeah, because I wanted to get my Christmas cheeses. We walked down there with my two nieces. I felt all right, but then when I was back at your mum's house and you guys were all doing the tree decorations, I was on the sofa and I was in a bit of discomfort. I wouldn't say pain, but it was like, I was feeling little twinges, but it did not occur to me that that was the start of my labour.
No. It was our first child, wasn't it? So
yeah.
we didn't know what it felt like, what it looked like, but I do specifically remember going over to my mum and my eyes must have been like this. I was like, I think she's in labour. And like, you just sort of sat on the sofa on your own.
Laying down, like I was sort of curled up and everyone was just leaving me alone. I was like, this is nice.
Really, we should have got out there earlier, but we ended up leaving at about 11 p.m.
I think we got in at about 11, didn't we? Got home.
Yeah, and by the time we got in bed, it was like 12, it was midnight, wasn't it?
Yeah.
To be honest, I was sleeping in the spare room for like a few weeks leading up to that, just because you hated me. And
no, I never hated you.
Well,
I was snoring and I was
Oh yeah, you were snoring.
It was the snoring that sent you across, I think.
Yeah.
You was in the spare room, I was in our bed. Went straight off to sleep at midnight. Then I woke up about 2 and I was like, oh, I need a wee. So I got out of bed. I felt a little trickle, like the smallest of trickles. It wasn't like I'd like peed myself or like a gush, like some people say. Took myself to the toilet, had a wee, and I was walking back, but then there was like another trickle, and I was like, oh, I don't think that's actually wee, I think that could be my waters. I got back in bed, so I thought, there's no point waking Christopher up yet, because when labour does start, it's going to be a long process, isn't it? So I'll let him sleep for as long as possible. I'll wake him up when I really need him. About 3 minutes later, I had my first contraction. And I was like, oh, this is really manageable. It's like a really mild period pain. I was like, I can do this. I'm in bed. I thought, I'll go back to sleep. I'll see if I can get some more sleep. Then a couple of minutes later, I got another one. After the second one, I heard a massive bang. Right.
And when I tell people this story, they think I'm crazy. So just bear with me. I haven't fallen out of bed since I was a child. Yeah.
Still makes me laugh now.
I promise you, I was pushed out of that bed. So, I don't know what it was. Something happened. I was rolled out of the bed and fell on the floor. It was like someone was saying,
"Go help her.
Go help her. She's in labour. Go and get her." Like I've never rolled out of bed about it.
So I heard the bang and I was like, "Christopher," and he was like, "I fell out of bed," and I was like, "I'm in labour." Yeah.
I came straight down and I went around setting up the tea lights everywhere.
You lit 1,000,000 candles.
Yeah, but that's what you wanted, wasn't it? That's what we wanted. Lit all the candles, we had the birth playlist, everything set up, and I was like, right, now we're set up. First thing you've got to do, call the hospital. Let them know. I called the hospital, so they're like, right,
come straight in.
We know what it is. But equally, the first question they asked was for all of your details. They asked to speak to you. I said, look, she's in too much pain to speak. Can you speak to me? They said, fine. Has her waters broken? I said, yes, her waters are broken.
Yeah, and said, you have to go in within 24 hours.
Yeah, they can't let you stay at home.
Waters breaking and me not being able to actually have a conversation, teamed together, I was like, no, you need to come in, just come in straight away.
Yeah, set up all them lights and the playlist. And we'd spoke to everyone, we're going to labour from home, we're only going to go in for the birth. Ended up having to go in straight away. You said, I feel gross, I need to get in the bath. So
I wanted a bath before I went to hospital.
When I got in the bath, didn't you?
And actually, it took away a little bit of the discomfort.
Well, that's the first stage of pain relief, isn't it?
Yeah, hot water, definitely have a bath if you're in labour.
So we loaded up, got in the car. That is the most horrendous drive I've ever done. Actually, the second most horrendous drive.
Was coming home.
Top spot is driving your baby home. It's so nerve-wracking.
Luckily though, it was 3:30 in the morning, so there was no traffic on the road, and I just remember, I don't remember if you were going slow, if you were going fast or whatever. All I remember is holding this little pink bin from IKEA, like feeling like I need to vomit, but never actually vomiting. So
when we got there, no one was there. It's barely anyone even on the desk was there. And
I remember seeing one lady.
There was one lady. Honestly, we didn't see one pregnant person from when we checked in to when we checked out. And we arrived at triage. nice little room, separate from everything, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was nice.
I didn't feel the best in there, just because, you know, the last day of your holiday, you checked out your room, the cleaners come in, and you just sort of sat around with all your bags. That's what that place felt like to me, because I knew it weren't where we were going to be giving birth. We were just sort of waiting. It
was quite small as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, and all the bags were there, and it just felt like we were waiting for our flight from the airport, you know.
So yeah, when we got to triage, I remember the lady, I don't know if she's a midwife or a nurse, but she asked if I wanted to have a VE. So she asked my birthing preference, which I gave her, and in there I did state that I didn't want any VEs because it interferes with your natural oxytocin, which you require for a water birth, which is what I wanted. But when we got there, they were like, you can't actually get in the water until you're 5 centimetres, and we don't know how dilated you are. We can do a VE. And I was just like, yeah, whatever. You were kind of my brain, so I think you kind of said yeah.
Yeah, because I knew you didn't want it, and it's part of your preferences. I think I did say at the time, I said, to be honest, she doesn't really want to be doing VEs. I think where the sticking point was, so I said that we want to be in the water.
Yeah.
And she said, well, until you're a certain amount of centimetres dilated, you can't get in the water.
Yeah.
And we can't ascertain that until you've had a VE.
I was 4 centimetres. 4 centimetres.
So I said, oh, you can straight away come through to the birthing suite. We didn't have to wait in triage to get to 4 centimetres to be moved across.
Yeah.
And we got there, we was so chuffed with the birthing suite.
So impressed. So we walked in, it was a big room, and it had a double bed in there. It had obviously the birthing pool, which was huge, may I add. You could fit like 3 people in there if they weren't pregnant. There was fairy lights all around the room, which
positive
was really
affirmations.
lovely. Little posters all around. You forgot to pack my phone. And we spent like 6 hours making this playlist, and he left my phone at home.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
But yeah, it was a really lovely room. Definitely recommend a birthing suite.
Quite a lot of time passed after that. I remember sitting around, we were just sort of in limbo. You were on the bed.
I was on all fours.
You were on all fours, and we were trying to get you to 5 centimetres, weren't we? Because then that's when you can get in the pool. So they started filling the pool up, and we knew that, right, we're nearly there. However, didn't think it would take this long. It took 45 minutes to fill that pool up.
Yeah, it was a big pool.
Yeah. Then there was a switch of the midwives, weren't there?
Yeah, so the first lady that was monitoring me, she didn't say much, did she?
No.
She's a bit antisocial.
End of her shift, wasn't it?
Yeah, to be fair, bless her, she was probably knackered. She kind of left us to it.
But it might have been because of your preferences. You did say you didn't want people in and out of the room. Probably just wanted to leave us to it.
But then when the midwife swap happened, I remember they came in, and on my preferences, one of my stipulations was I don't want any students, I don't want anyone observing me give birth. Like, I just find that so unnatural. Like, didn't want that to happen. They came in, they was like, look, we know on your preference you say that you don't want anyone watching, but we have got a student with us today, and at that point I was just like, I don't care. We had a lovely older woman called Helen and a young student midwife called Natasha.
Yeah, they were great.
They were with us from that moment, weren't they? From the moment I got in the water until well after Roman was born.
And what I'll say is that we did put that on the preferences, that you didn't want to be observed by anyone, you didn't want it to interfere with your oxytocin.
Yeah.
We are so chuffed that we had the opportunity to have 2 people look after you.
Yeah.
It weren't just one person, we had like double the amount that some people have. It was really, really good for us, I think.
We actually built a relationship with these people.
Yeah, I was chatting with them, we were playing cards.
They tucked you in at one point because you were tired. They put him in the double bed, and I remember one of them tucking the sheets around him. Like, you have to sleep. She's not anywhere near.
She doesn't remember much.
I remember that.
But she remembers that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, really,
I went
really
Nando's with them last Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm surprised. When we were in the pool, they were monitoring my contractions, and I believe I was having 4 in 10.
They're coming thick and fast when you got in, weren't
Yeah, they were. I almost felt like I wasn't even getting a break. It was like the contraction lasts roughly about 60 seconds, so you're 1 minute on. I felt like I was getting 1 to 2 minutes off, and then another one on. And that, to be fair, it was pretty much like that throughout, wasn't it?
Yeah.
They were thick and fast the entire duration. This is why we say that our labour was from that very first contraction when I was upstairs in bed to the moment Roman was born, because the day before I wasn't actually in pain or getting contractions, was I?
No. Felt like time was going quite quick after that. you had a bit of food, you stopped for some food. To be fair, it was about 11 in the morning, wasn't it?
Yeah, I don't actually remember eating. Was that when you were feeding me a bit of
You
toast?
were getting a bit of toast in you, but it was a struggle to get it in you.
But you were putting it there and I was just going,
like cow. But
Daisy.
and then just water. And one thing I will say is that water was really, really important for such a positive story for us, because with that, if you got dehydrated, there was points where you nearly got dehydrated enough. They said, right, you have to get out of the pool.
Did threaten, didn't they?
They said, if you don't drink any more water, we're going to have to get you out of the pool, and you're going to have to go onto a drip to keep you hydrated because you wasn't drinking.
Yeah.
So that was a big part of our positive story. We had a little wee break because once you were in the pool, they wanted to keep you in the pool for a really long time, didn't they? So they was like, right, we've been in there a good few hours now. We want to do another VE.
Yeah.
So good opportunity. Let's stop here, go have a wee break. We'll do a VE and then we'll know how far along we are.
They take you out and they'll ask you to wee to see if anything is coming out.
One thing I will say, funny thing about that. So they get like a bit of cardboard that goes in the toilet to catch the wee, because they probably want to see the amount of wee and they want to see what colour it is to check if you're dehydrated. Liz, where she was sort of away with fairies. She came back after having a wee. She said, oh, there's cardboard in the toilet there. I was like, yeah, babe. She's like, is that to catch the baby in case it comes out?
You said that, or I said that?
You said it.
No, stop.
Yeah, I swear to God. Do you not remember?
No, that was definitely wasn't me. I was obviously away with the fairies.
So after the little wee break, they done another VE, and there was a big time period from sort of when we got in the pool to this second VE, and you were 6 centimetres dilated.
Yeah.
So after that, they gave us a couple of options, didn't they?
Like, this is all I remember from the options they gave. 1, blah, 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 blah. 2, blah, 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 blah. 3. No, 3 was, you can get out of the pool, have an epidural, and the pain will be gone in 20 minutes. And I was just like, okay, I'll take that one. I didn't hear what they said for 1 and 2. I was just like, yeah, I'm ready for that. Let's do that.
I did try and protect your birthing preferences, because I said,
yeah.
I sort of got down on eye level with you. I said, look, you didn't want any interventions, you wanted the water birth. Is this really what you wanted? And this is where it sort of all went a bit west, didn't it?
I got out, didn't I? They drained the pool, they took me to another room, then they hooked me up to monitors, and we waited for the anaesthetist. They said 20 minutes and then you can have an epidural. It wasn't pleasant being out of the water.
The whole vibe immediately changed, didn't it?
Completely changed.
How you looked, how you was feeling.
Yeah, it was just a completely different story. And if that had been my birth, then the story we are telling now wouldn't have been a positive one. They said 20 minutes, literally 2 hours later, we were still waiting, weren't we?
And that was a good thing. They said 20 minutes.
Yeah, it was a good thing.
Wait 20 minutes for the anaesthetist. 2 hours later, I still wasn't there.
So then when the anaesthetist arrived, you noticed something different, didn't you?
Yeah, I noticed that her moaning became like a bit of a moo, like it was a bit more primal. And the anaesthetist had just arrived and they're about to cut her off. I said, no, look, I said, can we do one more examination before we go through with this? Because I know as part of Liz's preferences, she didn't want to have an epidural and she didn't want to be out of the water. And because the anaesthetist had taken so long, by the time they checked again, it was 9 centimetres.
I was transitioning into active labour. Thank God for Christopher requesting another VE at that moment. She just turned up, hadn't she, in her brown scrubs. And he was like, no, check her again. And they checked and I was 9 centimetres. And he was like, no, absolutely, get her back in that water. The annoying thing was, though, in those 2 hours that I was out of the water and in the other room, obviously they'd emptied the pool. So then when we got taken back to our birthing suite room, they had to fill the pool again, which is 45 minutes. Yeah. We're quite lucky, though, that in those 2 hours that room wasn't given to someone else. So back into the room that we started in, pool had been filled, I got back in the pool, and then
it was go time.
It was go time. Baby, my baby, Roman baby, he started coming down.
You got a smile that makes the sun rise. You make it shine. But I can see that you don't realize, and that's what made me fall in love. 'Cause you've got style, the way your body keeps my heart beat sound. It's
bring it through if you can. You're a big boy.
Good boy.
Hello.
There you are. How you been born? There you go.
You're so relaxed.
Lovely heart rate. That's